And we are live back. Hello, Madam Heather. Thank you so much again for coming to the show. Today we're meeting in our virtual studio because I know your schedule is pretty packed. How have you been since our last episode?
Doing great, Victor. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's been a busy time at SBA, as you can imagine. So, yeah, we've got a lot to catch up on.
I'm obviously interested in everything. I believe that our audience as well, business right now is in a kind of a difficult situation. The economy is slowing down. So any piece of advice, any good news for the business are extremely appreciated.
Of course. So, the agency has come up with a couple of different things over the last year that we can kind of catch up on here. So we've gone through a revamp of our contracting programs. And when I say contracting programs, I'm talking about uh, 8A, which is the mentoring program that SBA offers to small businesses. It's actually a 9-year program that puts small businesses in a position to work with federal contractors, other federal agencies, to gain access to some of the products and services that they offer. So it's a great program. Then we also have the Women Small Business Certification Program and veteran owned, etc. So what we've done is we've taken 4 different platforms that small businesses used to apply for these programs through and consolidated them. And we're getting ready to launch that new platform that will allow small businesses to just go to one spot to get their certifications. So that should really ease the burden from the small businesses standpoint in gaining access to those federal contracting opportunities. Now, the federal government purchases everything from catering to heavy equipment to janitorial services, anything that you could possibly think of. And we want to ensure that small businesses have a part of that. It is about $700 billion a year is what the government purchases. So even giving, small businesses 25 or 28% of that is huge. So we're excited about that, and more to come in the coming weeks on that program. We've also launched a green lending initiative. And what we're doing is engaging lending institutions, and not necessarily banks or credit unions, although we're always happy to welcome them into our programs, but other entities that could potentially look at kind of the end user for that green lending. Say, for example, an HVAC or heating and air conditioning company that is looking to assist homeowners with upgrading their equipment, or perhaps solar panels or anything like that. So we're engaging in those conversations, and that's actually very exciting from the standpoint of adding more lenders to our loan programs. What else? There's so much going on. We just finished our end of the fiscal year yesterday, September 30th. So now we're working on 2025 goals and projects. And there's a lot to look forward to in 2025. Now, I know, as you so eloquently stated, small businesses are going through a rough time right now, especially with respect to where interest rates are in the scheme of things. The Federal Reserve had lowered the interest rate by 0.5 point last week. So that's great news. We're hopeful that we'll get a couple more of those cuts in the next few months. Again, the election plays a lot into that. And so we'll see where things take us into 2025. But SBA is here to support small businesses in anything. with a product array from loans to contracting to our resource partner network.
Well, I do appreciate you sharing so many great news. Having so much of pretty negative agenda in the media right now connected to elections or whatever else people like, it seems like it sells better and gets more views. I think it's extremely important to share that, hey, it's not that bad. It's actually good if we look at good perspectives. And it's exciting that you have so many programs. If you could briefly share with me and our audience, let's say there is a new business. What are some of the steps, or if you could mention all of the steps that the company has to do to be ready to get a contract with a governmental institution?
So great question, Victor. So the cities and states, local municipalities, they all contract, and they all have requirements that they contract with small businesses. So from the federal standpoint, we assist small businesses, from just inception of that business through, their life cycle, through their exit plan. It depends on where they are in that cycle, on what programs they're allowed to participate in. I had mentioned 8A a moment ago, and 8A is simply part of the Small Business Act. But it is kind of a mentoring program where we, as SBA, will assist businesses that are at least 2 years old. They have to have a 2-year history in order to participate in that particular contracting program. But we'll assist them by introducing them to contracting officers from other federal agencies. From my standpoint, I always think that it's a very personal relationship, if you will. If you create a relationship with somebody that you are looking to contract with, say, for example, the Army Corps of Engineers, try to create a relationship with the contracting officers within the Army Corps and show them what your capabilities are. How can you perform on the contracts that they need done? We can assist with making those introductions. We actually do a lot of meetings here at my office where we take potential contracting firms and contracting firms that are already in our programs and match them up with federal agencies. So we have different federal agencies that come in, and we allow for kind of that networking. And we, would tell the small businesses, when you come to these meetings, make sure that you've got your capability statement. And essentially, a capability statement, Victor, is just a one-page document, and it can be front and back, that will explain to the federal agency what experience you have, what performance standards do you abide by, what NAICS codes, and the NAICS codes are it's a numbering system that classifies businesses in their segment, if you will. But we would advise them to just come prepared. If you've got a company business plan, bring that and make sure that you have the wherewithal to perform on the contracts. So when I say that, I want to preference it by, in some instances, small businesses will enter the contracting arena. But what happens is they don't realize that the payment schedules for federal agencies, and even in some cases, the state or local municipalities, they pay, 60, 90, perhaps even 120 days out. So that small business has to have some type of a cash reserve that they can utilize to pay their employees, to pay their providers, to get their equipment, keep their equipment up and running, etc. So it's always a good idea to kind of look at this holistically with everything in play. And can you perform on these contracts. And on your capability statement, if you've got, a $200,000 credit line, put that on your capability statement. If you've got $1 million credit line, put that on there so that the firms know, okay, so even if we can't pay for, 45 or 60 days, this firm can still operate during that time, because we don't want to put businesses in a position to where they're struggling with trying to operate during these federal contracts.
Right. Except for all these preparations, how important is, for example, to you as a governmental official, when you are checking the candidates for contracts, how important to you is the strength of their brand? I've got multiple questions during or after my interviews or workshops about the importance of building the brand, and I'm a big advocate for that. It's like something that speaks for you. But does it work the same way with the government?
That's actually a great question too. And I'm hesitant to say no, but I'm only going to say no because these businesses are entering the contracting arena trying to prove themselves and create a brand name. Once they gain access to these contracting opportunities, they're then able to build their resume, to rebuild their capability statement, saying, I performed for the Fish and Game Department, or I performed for, the city of Sacramento, or whatever the case is. That is where the brand is actually built, is in the work that's being done.
So anything that is outside of this scope, for example, media, publications, all these things which work in just the business world, they are of a less value, or they are still of a value?
Oh, no, they're definitely of value, but they're just not as important, I would say, in having on your capability statement. It doesn't matter whether it's ABC company. If you can perform on that contract and you're a small business, it's beneficial to the government to contract with you. There are also different points allocated with the contracts and bids, and building that brand, although it's important to your company and for you in graduating the program, it's not necessarily that important to that governmental entity at that point in time. What's important is that you can perform, and that you can perform well.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We'll definitely dive into this program that you've mentioned. Now, you've mentioned one of the factors as the elections are coming and everybody is getting a little bit crazy, I would say. I would use this word with your permission. How does this period of time, which is close to the elections, impact SBA's operations, impact funds, if any?
So we, the administrator of the SBA, she sits at the cabinet. So it's a cabinet level position, and it's been so since the Obama administration. So regardless of who comes in, SBA is still going to be here. We've got a history of supporting small businesses. And in fact, we're the only federal agency that has the sole purpose of supporting small businesses. We've been around since 1953. We're not going anywhere. But what I will say is during times like this, it does lead to a lot of angst for small businesses. There's uncertainty on what potentially is going to happen. But small businesses can rest assured that regardless of what happens in the political arena, we will be here to support them. We have 68 district offices throughout the country and our U.S. territories that do only that, and that is support small businesses. And that's whether it is getting started or growing or access to capital, anything along those lines. From the standpoint of budgetary concerns, now the SBA, we are doing our best to reach every small business out there. but we're a very small agency. So we've got a resource partner network that is funded by the federal government. And in the case of California, actually, we're funded, or the Resource Partner Network is also funded by the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. So they supplement what SBA provides as well. The Resource Partner Network is kind of our boots on the ground. Those are the folks that are out in the communities working with small businesses one-on-one and doing mentoring and counseling and technical assistance, helping businesses to put together their financial projections for perhaps a loan that they're going after, or perhaps helping in creating a business plan or a capability statement. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
from the standpoint of the elections, it's not going to affect us. It will affect the market. It potentially could affect interest rates, but we are still here to support businesses.
That's amazing. I think that one of the main reasons why I would like to have these episodes with you and share more about SBA is what I've seen during my workshops with businesses, whether it's individuals or small companies, LLCs, and stuff like that. They use a lot of Dr. Google advice or Dr. YouTube advice for businesses. They try to follow these influencers, which just show off with, a Lamborghini or a Rolex. And to me, what they do, okay, it works for them. Maybe they sell something online, but it might just mislead small businesses, whether they exist already or they want to scale or they are about to be born. So I would really appreciate if we could do more with you, if you wish, your other colleagues as well, to promote more, to help the businesses, because I see the actual help through our connection to the businesses with all the SBA knowledge, expertise, and the resource, which we all can utilize and help each other, because the more we make, the more we pay tax, right? So it's a cycle.
Absolutely. And, Victor, I sincerely appreciate you doing the California Live podcasts. It really helps us to amplify the voice of SBA and the products and services that we offer. We don't have a marketing budget. That's not something that the federal government does. So we don't go out there and put up billboards on the side of the freeway or do radio or television ads. That's just not the arena that we play in. But it's folks like you that help get the word out to small businesses that these resources are available to them, and they're available at no cost. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is that we all pay taxes. Why not, utilize the tax dollars that you've already paid and get your money's worth by utilizing the products and resources of SBA and our Resource Partner Network?
Yes, absolutely. I'm all for that. And I'm more than happy and open to do as many episodes as you can to help the businesses. I see that the businesses are in need. They don't know. I've spoken a lot with businesses, let's say in the Chinese community of California, Southern, Northern. They don't know. Only through some seminars they would find out about SBA programs for purchasing businesses, which you've shared with me during our meetings last time. And that's it. And I'm telling them there is way more than that. Dive into it. And, they're like, not really, it's impossible. Like, yeah, it is possible. I'll be
and
more
you
than
bring
happy
up
to.
I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you bring up a very good point. We also provide in-language services and translation services. So if there is, you mentioned the Chinese community, if the Chinese community is looking for some training and expertise in, how to gain access to capital or to contracting opportunities, or, how to build a business plan or how to approach a lender, that type of thing, we can do the translation services for those trainings. And again, there's no cost. But you're right. There's a lot of communities that don't know about the work that is being done kind of behind the scenes. And to amplify that voice and to get the word out is extremely important. So I thank you for your advocacy.
Yes, absolutely. Also, I've seen not the most positive attitude towards the government, and I see the reason that people just don't know. And again, influence of the media. To me personally, you might have a different feeling, but when I see a certain personality on media, on Instagram or TV, I already know what is the agenda. My mind clicks off. I stop listening, and
Mhm.
I believe that it might happen to a few other people as well. And instead of promoting all the negativity, instead of just criticizing the governor, like, let's think how much work do they have to do, and let's actually educate ourselves and see what the agencies do, because they do a lot of work. I
Mhm.
know you personally. I haven't seen probably such a hardworking person in America as you are, and you do help a lot of people practically, not just with words, not just with an email or a connection. And I believe that you and your agency deserves to be known by the people, and I believe that people deserve to know about you and gain more opportunities together.
Well, thank you, Victor, and I appreciate your kind words. Something to keep in mind is that since we are a government agency, there are um, goals that we strive towards, but those are internal goals. We're not goaled on how many loans we give out or how many contracts we assist with. This is just what we do. We're goaled on other things internally, on a lot of compliance items, but it's invisible to the small business network. And I know that, like you said, when you're watching um, different podcasts or YouTube or something, there's always an end game. Somebody is always trying to sell you something. In our case, we don't sell anything. We just offer a product or a service that potentially could get a business started and growing and building our communities through those products and services. And that's really what we're all about.
Right. And I think that with these words, you just answer the question of many people around the America and around the world. They ask if American dream is still alive, and you just answer the question. It is. It's how to build your own business. It's how to grow it. It's how to help the community. And then, yeah, sure, you could buy your own house, right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you're planning for 2025.
Mhm.
And what are your personal goals in terms of SBA for 2025?
So I think I've shared with you previously that we're a little short staffed right now. So we're looking to add to our team here at SBA so that we can better service our district office territory. So within the state of California, there are 6 different district offices. Sacramento is the largest geographically. So we've got 21 counties that we service. And one of the main goals that I've got for 2025 is finding people that have the same heart that we do and want to help small businesses by going out into the communities and doing training and providing that technical assistance that's so desperately needed from small businesses. Because as you stated, businesses don't know what they don't know. They don't. They perhaps have a preconceived notion about something, but in reality, it may not be a real thought. So, just providing that guidance to small businesses, of course, building our communities, reaching out to our rural territories, and better servicing those territories by providing, the SBA expertise in those areas. Another thing that I will say is that this green lending initiative, I think, really could be a game changer for small businesses. I think that there's a lot to be done in that area. Of course, adding to our lender network is in the best interest of everybody, because some banks and credit unions are not apt to, say, for example, provide a business loan to a restaurant. Maybe their concentration limits in their own portfolio are too stretched and they can't do, say, restaurant loans. and that's just an example. But to make the connection with a business to another lending institution that does want to do those restaurant loans, that's really where we shine. And so those are basically the goals that we have, is to further engage with the small business community, to further assist small businesses who want to start or scale. And all around our 21 county district office, we want SBA to kind of be that product of choice, if you will. And again, with the lending that is done, SBA is not a direct lender. We simply operate in the background, and we guarantee loans that lending institutions make. But what that allows for is for a small business to get a yes versus a no from a lender. So if they're a startup, for example, and they don't have the historical cash flow that's necessary from the bank standards, we can come in on the back end and mitigate the risk of that lending institution by providing that guarantee, so that that small business can still get the capital that they need. So those are kind of the top priorities of the district office for 2025, and also adding to our the firms that we support through contracting. And again, we work with the state of California through DGS and the Department of General Services, as well as all of our federal partners, to make sure that the small businesses are gaining access to those contracts and getting a piece of the pie, because it is a very large pie.
Right. Does SBA have any niches or spheres of business that are of higher priority? For example, farming versus green energy or something like that?
Sure. Again, that's a great question too. And I think a lot of it is geography related, right? So in the Central Valley, farming is a big thing. And so a lot of businesses are being built around farming. Green energy is another thing, and that's obviously not necessarily geographic related, although it depends. You want solar panels or solar farms in kind of inland and not necessarily on the coast, because you get a lot of fog. So it just depends on the area. With respect to your little convenience store or a restaurant, that happens everywhere. Everybody needs to eat. And so those businesses are built anywhere. Contracting firms can really be anywhere, because they're going to go to where the jobs are. So it depends, I guess I would say.
It definitely depends. If we may take a little step back and talk a little bit about the elections. Politics aside, we have two candidates which, to me, and I believe to many other business owners, were not extremely specific about their plans for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read anything in their programs that would be maybe beneficial, or maybe a little bit less beneficial to the small businesses?
I appreciate the question, Victor, but I'm not in a position to say anything political. We are the agency. Again, we're a federal agency. So no matter who is president, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be supporting small businesses, and that's our job. The Biden-Harris administration has come up with a lot of great programs over the last 4 years that have benefited small businesses. And prior to that, the previous president came up with great programs. So each presidency kind of brings its own opportunities to small businesses. But I think everybody is on the same page in knowing that small businesses build communities, and we can strengthen our economy through those small businesses. So it doesn't matter who's at the helm, if you will, but we're still going to be here and still going to be doing the same thing that we've always done, which is helping to start and grow and expand small businesses into different areas, and perhaps exporting their goods overseas. And, whatever is best for the small business is really what we want.
Heather, I think that was a very important and powerful message. What I do and our team within the podcast and our podcast satellites, we stay away from the political point. We stay away from this political agenda, and we want to analyze each administration, each candidate into that administration. What are they planning to do? Critics aside, all the emotions aside, all the negativity and toxicity aside, what is that actually practical that they have done or they will be doing? And I saw that we're getting pretty nice growth of attention to it, because it's nothing toxic. It's like actual numbers, it's actual plan. And I do appreciate your input that it doesn't really matter who comes to the cabinet, to the office. We still have programs. We still have SBA with us and helping small businesses. Thank you very much for this assurance. And I think for a lot of people that will be very helpful.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Victor.
I do have tons of questions. I know that your time is limited and you are very busy. Plus, the fiscal year has just finished, so I assume that I won't take too much time right now. I do look forward to our next meeting, whether it's online or in person, and I believe that we'll be able to share a lot more with our audience and have it as a tradition.
I would really, really enjoy that. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you kind of getting the word out about SBA and all that we have to offer. Again, there's no cost for any of the products and services that we offer. And I think that it's very important that small businesses seek additional guidance with, what they're trying to do. And again, whether it's starting or growing or expanding into new markets, we're there to hold their hand the entire way.